This tutorial is to make simplicity 5581. It will be the shirt. I will be making the boys size. It is the same for the men's. Layout directions are slightly different. I'll be using the following layout. My fabric is 45 inches wide, so I'll be using this layout right here. You'll be needing pieces 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All sizes lay out in this direction. We have the fold at the bottom, salvage is at the top. Make sure it is 2 layers. Right here they show the sleeve is hanging off, which you reference the star. The star takes you over to the directions there. Okay, to go ahead and place our pieces, I'm going to follow this layout exactly. Piece number 6 is the sleeve. It shows it wrong side laying over in the corner and then right side here. But we will be cutting that afterwards as it starred, and it will tell us later. Here is the buttonhole guide. This will be used later after we have constructed the garment. Here is our front facing. It will place in the middle section upside down with the printed side placed down. Most of these pattern pieces are. Collar also is printed side down. Here is our shirt back. Again, it is shaded on the pattern layout, so it needs to be printed side down, and it lays right along the fold. And then the shirt front lays in the upper portion, again, right, printed side down. For the pocket is a front pocket goes on the shirt. There is only one to be cut, but they have us go ahead and lay it out in this position, which means we'll probably end up with 2 of them, but only need to use 1. That is the layout for the 45-inch wide fabric, all sizes. If you have 60, you will do the one on the other side. We are now going to pin our grain line. When it is a fold or a bent line, you will pin it exactly along the fold, and you will not cut that fold. This is the full back, so you want to keep it continuous. To do a straight grain line, you're going to put a pin on one end of the arrow, measure it, measure to the other side, and make sure it's exactly the same measurement. Pivot if needed to have that line up correctly. I'll continue doing grain lines through all the pieces here. Again, measuring as I go after I put the first pin in, and continue pinning the other end of the arrow once it is a matched up area. Once you have them all on grain, I would like you to send me a picture by text showing me that you have it laid out correctly. I need a picture of the pattern layout and then a picture of your pattern pieces properly pinned with 2 pins, and then I will get that right back to you. Continue pinning all your pieces down once you have approval, like so. Best to pin perpendicular to your edge. And again, the sleeve will be cut after we cut these pieces out. We'll have to refold our fabric, and I will be demonstrating that in a moment. Go ahead and begin cutting out. Make sure to cut all your notches in the outward direction and keep them accurate. If they're a single notch, cut them into a single notch point. If they are a double notch, go ahead and cut up and across the flat. All right, we finished the collar there. Now, as we move into our next layout here, that will be for the sleeve. This is the extra portion that was cut off there. I'm going to open that up. It is going to have to get well, the directions tell you to lay it and flip it over. We're actually just going to fold ours in half. I want to straighten out this grain. I'm going to do that like we did with our sample fabric and just tear. Put a little slice in, tear all the way across. Be careful not to overstretch your fabric. And then fold that so that the distance between the fold and up to where you tore is the same measurement or close to. That will help us keep this on grain. So I'll be measuring from the fold up to where I tore and it's approximately 7 inches. That looks straight. Now I'll place my piece, and I'll be cutting both those at one time. By doing it this method, it's a little bit faster, but I am getting an opposite direction. So if you have a nap on your fabric, you cannot do it this way. You'll have to do it one at a time, so your nap continues in the correct direction and you don't end up with an upside down sleeve. Once you've measured your grain line, go ahead and pin around and continue your cutout. Again, being sure to cut that double notch as a double notch and not a single. That represents the back of the sleeve and becomes very important when positioning this sleeve into the garment. All right, we had cut 2 of those, we have 2 of these, and now it says cut 1 of interfacing and cut 1 of interfacing of the front facing of the shirt. So here is your interfacing layout. Interfacings for both A and B are there, and is the 2 pieces that we need to use is the collar and the facing. Go ahead and pin those onto your double thickness interfacing. Cut those out the same as you did your fabric. And that is piece 4 and 5 with their interfacing cut out. Next up is to do all our markings. Best to do this at the beginning. I do it by putting a pin right through anything that is a round dot. Be sure you are using the correct size and a marking pencil of a chalk or some type of marking. And then I just rub right across where the pin went through. I find this to be the most accurate way. Again, push the pin through the dot. That's the correct size that you're making, and continue that onto all pieces. There are several dots on the sleeve here. These are all line-up points, and again, when putting a sleeve in, it is best to have lots of marks and help line things up correctly. And make sure you mark on both the sides of each fabric. I mark on the wrong side of the fabric because that's typically where I'm looking when I'm doing my sewing. And you can, at this point, once you've done your markings, don't forget to mark right here on the left side of the front. It's where the pocket gets placed later. And it's actually the only one I do on the right side. Remove all your pins from the pattern piece, except for I leave 1 pin in just to hold that fabric and pattern piece together until I'm ready to start construction.